So my girlfriend's. So we're in the car driving, and she's like, "Oh, there's this stingray that's pregnant in a zoo."
Stingray's pregnant in a zoo. Okay.
But it's a virgin, and it's never been around a male stingray.
Oh, all right.
And I'm like, okay, tell me more about this, right? So she's like, yeah, it's like the zookeepers are really, they're having a hard time understanding what's happening because they swear that the stingray has been by itself since they've had it, since it was, I think it was hatched there.
Okay.
And it's pregnant. Mm-hmm. And they think it might be the sharks because the sharks were in the water with it. And I'm like, that's fucking impossible. I said, that is fucking impossible. A zookeeper said this? And she's like, yeah, they think that might be an explanation for it. I said, okay. So I'm like, that's like saying that you fucked a gorilla and you got pregnant by it. I was like, that is also impossible. Like, stingrays and sharks are closely related. But they're like...
So stingrays get pregnant. They don't lay eggs and then...
So that was my first question. I said, was there sperm in the water?
Yeah.
Right? Because a lot of fish procreate that way, right?
Yeah. They just spray it into
sprays sperm, and then the female just like,
it's
it's
a plume of sperm.
A plume of bukkake, no?
A bukkake cloud that they just run into and like, oh, I'm pregnant. Yeah.
Actually, they shoot their eggs, and the eggs and the sperm in the water, right?
Because the eggs are out. They don't get pregnant. They have the eggs outside,
external,
and then the sperm goes on the eggs.
Yeah. So apparently, I asked that question. She wasn't sure, and I think no, they have an internal gestation.
So they're kind of like seahorses.
Well, like humans, they have an internal gestation. They have,
but it's like inside.
It's inside of their body. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No, seahorses are fucking wonky. The male carries it. Like that's all. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. So, I was trying to explain to her. I was like, and she understood. But I'm just saying, like, I was like, sharks and stingrays are both cartilaginous fish, right? Mm-hmm. But they're separated by probably 10 million years of evolution, right?
Right.
That's like saying that
sharks are the older, right?
They're
like one of the oldest.
I don't know. Stingrays are old too. Like cartilaginous fish altogether are very old.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
So I don't know when their common ancestor was, but it was probably a long time ago. I'd say at least 10 million years. Mm. So chimps and us are 5 million apart. So that's like saying we fucked an orangutan, right? Yeah. Or maybe something even before.
Well, you have to bukkake.
Baboon.
No.
Yeah.
You don't fuck it. You bukkake it. And somehow the bukkake impregnates. You can't just fuck a gorilla, right?
Right.
I don't think a shark is fucking a stingray.
So I don't know how they actually procreate, right? I don't know if the shark actually mounts. I have no idea. It doesn't. Yeah. So it
kind of matters the method.
Well,
is it just kind of like the cloud of sperm?
The reason why it doesn't matter is you're right. There are pre-zygotic and post-zygotic boundaries when we talk about this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
A pre-zygotic boundary is like they can't physically have sex together.
Right.
I think this is a post-zygotic issue. Even if they could have sex, the chromosomal abnormalities are so different. Like they just are different cells.
Yeah.
They could never come together, right? Anyway, but now I'm getting mad because I'm like, how do these zoologists make a leap like that?
You're not getting mad at her. You're just getting mad at
the fucking biologist.
The situation, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, how dumb.
Right.
And I'm like, I can tell you what it is right now. I guarantee some kind of parthanogenesis. Now,
you fuck yourself.
Yeah.
In a way.
So she's like, oh, they said that word. I said, okay. So then she sends me a message today, and it says, someone must have like smacked them across the face and was like, it's parthenogenesis, you fucking idiots. Like,
can you explain what parthenogenesis is?
Yeah. So it's I didn't know that stingrays can do this until I read the article. So I studied insects. So insects is very common. So like aphids can literally clone themselves. Mm. They can lay an egg, an unfertilized egg, and have a baby. Mm. And it's basically a clone of itself. That's
how does it do that? What's the mechanism behind it?
So that's a great question. I forget if they're diploid or haploid, because if you're only able to if you split an egg, so your female's eggs and male sperms are haploid. They only have one copy of the chromosome.
Yeah.
And then when the sperm and egg fuse, you get a diploid organism.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken, I think aphids are able to keep it a diploid, so they don't have to split the egg. So it's a diploid egg that basically just develops into an offspring.
But it's epigenetic, right? Based on the situation. Yes. Oh, there's no mate, so I'm going to switch to this mode where I can fuck myself.
Aphids can sexually reproduce.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just they regularly don't.
Oh. Yeah. I see.
Aphids are an extreme example because aphids do it all the fucking time. But there's a lot of examples in biology where species will do it in rare circumstances. Mm-hmm. And other stingrays have been observed to do it, but not this species.
I see.
So this might be the first in recorded history this species is doing it, which is, I don't know if that's a huge discovery, but it's yeah.
Because it depends on the situation and everything, right? Like,
but the problem is this thing went viral. For my girlfriend to pick up on this had to have been viral, right?
Because it's almost like the Jesus character of stingrays, right? It's like, like a holy pregnancy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But isn't it crazy that it's more likely that it's a virgin birth than it is a shark fuck this thing, right? Non-biologists are going to be like, that's fucking crazy, right? But I'm like, no, it's more crazy to think that a fucking shark and a stingray, they're separated by 10 million years of evolution, that's an estimate, by the way,
right,
are procreating, right? Yeah. That to me is crazier, you know?
Yeah, the professional to make that comment of like, hey, maybe a shark fuck this thing.
I mean, that's like saying, like, that's on the same level saying a cat fucked a dog and they had a kid, right?
No, it's pretty much.
Yeah. It literally is. Like, and that's the you know, people don't realize they see these simpler organisms and they think they're like the same thing. And like, no, these things are completely different branches of living things, right?
If you're a zoologist and you make that comment, sure, you're chastised.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think even a normal person I was like, hey, maybe.
No, and that's what I'm saying. I don't fault my girlfriend for thinking that. She doesn't know she doesn't know the difference between a stingray and a shark. Like, she knows they look different, but she doesn't know, you know.
Well, genetically, is it maybe like a liger and a tiger? Like, who knows? Maybe, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
No, those are much closer, right?
Yeah.
They can interbreed.
Right.
So yeah, but a dog and a cat are very, very different. They separated by a long evolutionary history, right? And I think that's like a similar distance we're talking here.
But you know what's crazy?
Yeah.
The ocean is full of fucking sperm of different.
That's true, dude. That's true.
But there's no interbreeding. I don't think of much interbreeding.
Oh, I see.
Even with there's so much cum in the ocean, and all these eggs, and they get bombarded by different sperms, right?
Different sperm, yeah.
But it's only the certain kind of sperm.
Right, certain sperm has to unlock. But that's an interesting point because these species had to have diverged at some point.
Yeah.
And it's hard to diverge if you're crossbreeding with different with distant relatives, right? So but I just think the ocean's way bigger than we think it is. Right? And there's a lot of space in the ocean, right?
There's a lot of space in between. Yeah. And I'm assuming it degrades after like, you know, like a mile. Imagine a sperm traveling a mile. I don't think it can travel a mile.
I have no idea. Yeah. Eggs would be much more likely to travel far distances because they're a lot more. They don't have to move, right? They're kind of just. They don't have.
They kind of just stick, though, right? You mean eggs just stick?
I think eggs are also more hardy. They have mitochondria, number one. So
if they go into a current, they could just like fly away.
They can still produce some. If they have a good supply of fuel inside of them, they can stay alive for longer. So sperm are burning fuel constantly, and they don't have many mitochondria.
Right, but then that one egg flying around and getting hit by a bunch of sperm. Yeah. It annoys me like sometimes when I go to the ocean and I think about what I'm.
You like waiting in sperm?
I'm like, holy shit! This is just so much fish sperm, so much sperm, dude. And it's also broth of all the dead things in there.
There was a lot of crazy shit in the ocean.
So that's like making a broth at home and then coming in it and like mixing it up. That's what the ocean is.
So a similar thing happened a few years back. Do you remember the twins? One of them stayed on Earth, one of them went in space.
Yeah.
Okay.
The astronauts.
So this scientific fucking publication, I think it was a magazine, was like breaking news, twins DNA changes like altered or whatever. And I'm like, so I actually I tweeted back to them. I'm like, are you talking about gene expression? Or are you talking about their fucking DNA changed? That's two crazy different things. So they actually changed it. Cause I was like, you can't say that. Their DNA is not changing. Their expression profiles are different. Their genes are being turned on differently.
You're the epigenetic properties of
their DNA didn't shift and change. That's how they wrote it.
Holy shit.
And this is a scientific publication. This is a magazine, you know?
But there's not much, what is it? They're getting bombarded by like by a lot of different.
There was a lot more cosmic. There's cosmic rays that
Right.
yes, but
more radiation up there.
they were not measuring that though. Yes, there may be some mutations that happen in the twin,
Right.
but across his whole body, you're not going to see changes, right? There are some cells maybe that have some mutations, but it was gene expression they were talking about. The gene expression profiles in the twins were different, obviously, because they're in two totally different environments.
Right. That's like,
Yeah.
you and a clone say goes to like freaking like Nepal and like in the Himalayas for like, a year or something.
Right. Yeah. Or if I went to, if I stayed in LA and my other one went to New York, even then you would see gene expression changes, right? Like, so and it's interesting what they saw changed. I'm not saying it's not interesting.
It's a different kind of. It's way more drastic than like from
New
New
York
York to
New York to Philadelphia or LA. Yeah.
You're accounting for like zero gravity. Like what happens to your DNA? How is it going to be expressed in zero gravity? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's funny. You personally wrote into
personally said something about that, and they actually responded and said, "Oh, thank you, blah blah blah." Like
damn, dude.
I was just like, you can't fucking say that, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
be precise.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just stuff like that just drives me insane. Like just like in a zoologist of all, these are people that specialize in these animals.
Right. They definitely have a PhD on.
I would hope so, or a master's at least.
They read enough where they know that. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they probably know what parthenogenesis.
Maybe they don't. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they didn't know it. It's not a very common thing.
Yeah, but you see it in frogs. I know about it. Even like you hear
Yeah.
about it, right? Like frogs do it and whatnot.
Yeah, frogs. Yeah, there's some frogs that do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to check on the aphid thing whether they're diploid or haploid. I actually don't remember. But
do you think Jesus?
Mary was a
parthenogenesis?
Mary's a hermaphrodite. She fucked herself. Oh my god, that's terrible. I'm going to hell.
No, but it could be the first parthenogenesis human.
I don't think it's possible in our species. Yeah,
it could be.
It could. Yeah, and then he truly was born of a virgin.
Because if she was hermaphroditic and like the pipes got screwed up, right?
That's true. Yeah,
mixing the diploids.
Who knows?
Or the haploids together and then make a zygote. Yeah, perfect.
But if Jesus wouldn't have been the first because they stole that shit from the Egyptians. Born of a virgin is a very older than Christianity.
No, I think parthenogenesis could happen then.
In humans? I have no idea. I think you're actually right about this. Mm-hmm. I think I remember reading somewhere that it was possible.
Like a virgin birth.
Yeah.
Right.
Now please check me out. Like if you're listening to this and you're saying, what? Like, please check me on this. But I remember, theoretically, I think it's possible. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, but in theory, it's all possible. It's just we're just talking about blending two haploids together, right?
Right. But the Christians believe that.
But she wasn't a virgin, though. Joseph was there.
Right.
Joseph was banging Mary before.
Yeah. See, that's the part I don't understand. If they were married, that means they had to have banged at least once, right? Don't they have to like consummate the marriage?
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah,
do Jewish people don't do that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Are there any Christians out here that could tell us that? Any Christian scholars that could tell us if that's...
It's a virgin birth, but not by him.
Well, that's not a virgin. That's like a born-again virgin. That doesn't count.
Born-again virgin birth. Yeah.